Okay, today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite things, and I feel is one of the most important things to sales. It's really a foundation to sales, or really anything else for that matter. But it is so simple that it is very often overlooked. And that is, what is your objective? What are you trying to accomplish when you meet with a potential client, when you meet with a potential customer? Most people don't even think about it. And so what they do is, if it's not a conscious thought, they go straight to, what is the metric that I'm measured by, which in sales is, how much are you selling? So the objective becomes, how much do I sell, right? How many sales am I making, the amount, the closing percentages. My goal when I meet with a client is to make a sale as big as possible, because that's what I get measured by. And this is important both for the actual salesperson and the manager, because the manager is the person who's reinforcing it, right? So when I ask this question, it's funny because as soon as I ask it, a lot of the sharp people, they're always like, well, making a sale is probably not the right answer. Otherwise, you wouldn't be asking me the question, because that's what seems so obvious. And so it's funny when you start asking the question, some people go deep and they're actually, you get some good answers, but I've been really surprised at what type of answers we get. I've heard things like, I want to make sure they have a great experience, or good ones. I want to really know the customer's why, understand what really makes them tick, understand their need. And that is really a good purpose to have. That's something that you want to accomplish, but is it your overall objective? I'm not sure. And here's a great way to tell. You want to look at your overall objective as a timeline. Okay. This is when you meet the customer. This is what your overall objective is. And if your overall objective is just to make a sale, that's the end. Well, is that what you really want? Because what'll happen is, if that's your only objective, then you'll find your sales associates making shortcuts, saying whatever they need to just to make that sale, because that's the only thing they're being measured on. Where let's say we go back to if your objective is to really understand your customers why. Okay, that's great. Well, if here's the starting point, I meet this future client, my objective is to understand their why. I understand their why. Well, where's the sale? The sale happens after that timeline. So now you're managing your salespeople and you're like, did you understand their why? Yes, I did. Great job. You accomplished your objective. Did you make a sale? No. Well, you're not going to be in business very long if that's the case. So what you want to do is, you want to have an objective where a sale falls within that timeline. For instance, one of our objectives we have at our studios is we want to have a long-term member who becomes a part of our community. Now, in order for that to happen, if that's the final objective, where it's a long-term member, they've been around a while, they've been a part of our community, they're hitting their goals, they have to have a membership to do that. So a sale falls within that timeline. And so go back to, what is your overall objective? A sale should happen in between that timeline. And then you go back and you restructure everything to fit that objective. One of the companies we worked with was a massage envy. And one of the questions they asked was, when was the last time you had a massage? That's great. But that sets up the objective of getting them one massage, right? Because if you're only asking when was the last time you had a massage, then they'll say, well, I don't know, this long ago. What's your real objective? Their real objective was to have a long-term paying member that comes in all the time and works on their health and gets relaxed long-term, right? So if that's the objective, instead of asking, when was the last time you had a massage, you would say, when was the last time you were getting massages regularly? And what happens is, you start changing all your questions, all your promotion to fit your overall objective, not just making a short-term sale. And what happens is, you end up a lot better in the long run. So I can't tell you what your objective is. I've been in direct sales where the objective was, a good objective was to just get recommendations. I just want 15 recommendations from this person. Because if they're giving you recommendations, that means they like your product or service. They like the way you dealt with you. Sales were probably happening. And that person generally did well than just, I'm going to try to sell as much as I can on this one appointment. So it's really up to you, but think about the long term. What do you really want from your business? What do you want from your salespeople? If you're a salesperson, what do you really want? And make sure you look at that objective. And does a sale happen within that timeline? And then go back and restructure your questions, restructure your rapport, restructure your value propositions to really support that overall objective. That's all for today.